Hello everyone, thank you for joining us for today's webinar. I'm Bia Mion and I work here at Programs at WINS. WINS is a network of 130 philanthropy association network, academic institutions, support organizations and funders from over 35 countries around the world. And our purpose is to strengthen, promote, and provide leadership on the development of philanthropy and social investment. Today's session is in collaboration with TrustLaw from the Thomson Reuters Foundation about the global legal pro bono and how WINS members can access the service. Today we have Giulia Corinaldi. She's the global head of the programs for TrustLaw, and she will present more about the pro bono legal program, and she'll share successful experience from philanthropic organizations. Just a few logistic announcements. All attendees will be muted during the presentation. We are going to record the session. It will be available on the YouTube as well as all the resources shared. And if you have any questions, please send us to the chat or using the Q&A box. So I want to thank Giulia for taking the time to join us today, and I will leave her to it.
I'm delighted to be here to be presenting to all of you. And I just want to ensure, I don't see many people have joined the call, but you can see them.
Yes, Giulia, we can. Some people are still joining.
Okay. Anyway, I'll get started, and I am. So thank you very much, everyone. I'm Giulia Corinaldi. I'm the Thomson Reuters Foundation Global Head of Program for TrustLaw. And I'm here also with my colleague Cecilia Ramos, that is the Program Officer for LATAM. And I'll give an overview of our work and how we would like to work with you. And Cecilia will give a bit more detail on the details of how the service works. And then I will pick it up with some case studies. I'll try to interrupt the presentation to get questions, to keep it informal. So please join in at any point with your question, etc. So at the foundation, for who out there knows us already, the foundation is going through a big change. It used to be led by Monique Villa, now it's led by Antonio Zapula, and the Thomson Reuters Foundation is the corporate foundation of Thomson Reuters. We're independent completely from the business. The Thomson Reuters is a global news and information service company. And what we do at the foundation, we work to advance media freedom, raise awareness on human rights, and develop initiatives to support inclusive economies. We believe in the power of information and collaboration to shape a more fair and equal society. We do this through global news coverage, media development, free legal assistance, and our convening authority. And we seek to inform, connect, and empower people around the world. What does that mean in practice? So, and we have a news outlet that reports on human rights. We have over 50 journalists around the world reporting on different kind of human rights issues around the world, and our news reports get wired through the Thomson Reuters wire, which has about 1 billion reach and reads. And it's really to raise awareness on climate change, women's rights, trafficking, land rights, child labor rights, etc., and ensure they are on the top of the agenda of journalists around the world. On the media freedom, we look at how we work with NGOs to strengthen journalists and train journalists in countries and make sure there's a free press and strong press because we believe that it's core of democracy, and we provide training all around the world on specific topics or in general reporting on women's rights or reporting on transparency, or it can be more like general good reporting and how to write stories. We do mentoring, and at the same time on the media freedom, we strengthen NGOs by giving them free legal advice, and I'll go in more detail to what that means. But mainly we strengthen the governance of NGOs and their advocacy power through giving them free legal research. The last area is inclusive economy, and we do similar. We strengthen NGOs and journalists in reporting. We strengthen journalists across the world in reporting on how to make economy more inclusive. So, I mean, looking at social entrepreneurship, looking at the capitalist model, looking at human trafficking and forced labor, and looking at technology and inclusiveness of technology. And then we look at, we work with NGOs in strengthening we work with NGOs and social enterprises to strengthen their governance and their advocacy power within the inclusive economy umbrella. At this point, this is what the foundation is doing, and I wonder if anyone has questions on this bit before I start focusing today on our service trust law, which is the one that provides free legal assistance. Any questions? Okay, I'll move on to trust law and what we do at trust law. So maybe with trust law, we help NGO and social enterprises to identify and articulate their needs and receive excellent legal support to strengthen their operations. So at the foundation, we truly believe that NGOs and social enterprises need to be sustainable economically, and I know a lot of you do grants. What we think is that they need also to be resistant and resilient to the current climate, and they need to have strong governance, strong policy, strong way of dealing with mergers and acquisitions. And so we help them go out there and find the right legal advice to support them in core corporate issues they might have. So as you can see here, we provide, we match them with lawyers that can help them with intellectual property, corporate law, commercial contracts, banking and finance, employment. And then the second way we help and strengthen NGOs is by giving them free legal research. So we connect them with lawyers around the world to give them free legal research that they can use for their advocacy work or for training on Know Your Rights. And I'll give more examples. But it's really the idea of getting NGOs free, excellent legal advice across the world. And how do we work with partners like yourself? In order to grow our, we work to grow our network of NGOs. We work with about 5,000 NGOs around the world. Oh, some questions are coming in now. Yeah, I just saw a question, but I don't know where it went.
Giulia, I can read the question to you. The question was, what do you mean to give advice for NGOs under the umbrella of inclusive economy, and what the profile of NGOs you work with?
Okay, so in terms of under the umbrella of inclusive economy, it means that we're really trying to look at NGOs, other social enterprises. They're trying to, they work with people, other looking at social enterprises or NGOs. They are looking at improving the economic system or improving the activity of people who are not part of the economic system. So the profile we're looking at very broad. We work with organizations looking at women economic empowerment, LGBT rights. We look at organizations looking at trafficking and stopping forced labor, and they work with victims of forced labor, or they work with corporate to improve their supply chains. We look at also organizations that are looking at digital and how to make digital more inclusive and access to digital. So the type of information the NGO we're looking for is very varied. Yes, and the profile of the NGO is usually an NGO that's been working at least for a year, that can show a bit of impact, and is really looking to strengthen their governance, or they need legal research that to do their advocacy. Mariana, is this okay as an answer? Do you need more information? Okay, great, brilliant. And thank you so much for your question. And in terms of partners, as I see, this is a group of our partners that we work with, where they work with their grantees or their members, and they didn't have a free service to provide free legal advice, so we partner with them to provide that bit. So we go out there, they refer organization to us, but we also organize tailor event where we go and do pretty much we talk to their grantees and understand what are their legal issues, and then we help them post the legal issues and connect them to the right lawyers. And this is a snapshot of some of our global partners. And we're looking for more, and hopefully some of you will be able to join us. And I wanted to give you also an idea of our reach. We work with 4,200 NGOs. We have in 175 countries. So if you have NGOs or grantees, they're in maybe countries where it's tricky to get free legal advice, we try to help them do that. We have worked on over 5,000 legal matters in under 10 years for free for NGOs, which that means about $134 million in pro bono hours that NGOs have received for free. And we're aiming to continue this, and hopefully we'll be able to help your grantees in doing that. And our offices are based in New York, Los Angeles, Buenos Aires, London, Madrid, Nairobi, Mumbai, and Bangkok. And after this webinar, if you're interested in the services we provide, I can connect you with our offices, and we can look at how we could tailor our free services to your members or grantees. At this point, any question a bit more on the broader picture on what the foundation does and what TrustLaw does and our mission? And I'll wait a little bit. No questions at this point? Please feel free to ask any question. We're really just here to show you how we work with other partners and see if we can work with you and find ways to collaborate, connect from TrustLaw, but also from other services. I will pass on the baton to Cecilia, who will explain in more details how your grantees can access our service and how the service works.
Thank you very much, Giulia. So our TrustLaw program works in the following way. The non-profit organizations and social enterprises that are willing to become part of the program will need to fill in our membership form. And once they do that, they will be becoming a TrustLaw member. And they will be having access to do requests for free legal advice whenever they need it and how many times they need it. Whenever they want to make use of our service, they will have an access to our platform where they can post their request, and they will be able to discuss their legal needs with one of our lawyers from the Trust Law program. The lawyers from our program will be in charge of drafting this legal request in the way that any lawyer around the world can understand which are the legal needs of these organizations or social enterprises, and will be sharing this document with them so that the organization or social enterprise can check that it actually reflects the legal needs and the request they want to do through our service. Once they confirm this to our lawyers, we will be sending to all the law firms and in-house legal teams that are part of Trust Law this request so they can offer their help to this organization or social enterprise. Once we receive an offer from a law firm or in-house legal team to help this organization, we will let the organization know, and they will be able to confirm to us if they are interested to be connected to that law firm or in-house legal team. Once they confirm that to us, we will connect straight away the law firm or in-house legal team with the organization or social enterprise so they can start working. But nevertheless, we will continue to be in contact with both parts to be able to help them in any issue that they may have regarding the assistance they will be providing, and we will be always be asking for feedback both to the organization and to the law firm or in-house legal team to make sure that everything is going according to what was established on the legal request that the organization posted. For you to have the information about how law firms and in-house legal teams join our network, they also need to go through a vetting process in which we ask the law firm how many lawyers are working with them and what type of legal areas they're covering for us to know the profile of the law firm or in-house legal team. And once they become a member, they can offer their services through our program. Once they're interested in taking a case, they will be able to let us know that through the platform or by email, so we can send that offer to the organization or social enterprise. You will be able to review our legal members and in-house legal teams in our website. If we can go to the next slide. Regarding the question about which are the type of organizations and social enterprises that we can help through the Trust Law program, we support non-profit organizations and social enterprises that are legally registered or incorporated in at least one country, whose mission is social, environmental, or humanitarian, and can be shown through their strategy, beneficiaries, and impact. It's important that they do not have discriminatory political or proselytist activities, and in the specific case of social enterprises, if it is a social enterprise that is actually generating profits, we need to make sure that they have a commitment of reimbursement of more than 50% of that profit in the social, environmental, or humanitarian mission. As you can see, we can help from small organizations up to very big international organizations. The only issue that we have is that they need to be legally registered or incorporated in at least one country, so we make sure the type of projects and activities they're currently developing. If we can go to the next one.
Chechi, there's a question that came through.
Oh, sorry.
It says the communication with the NGO, is it just in English?
Currently, our membership form is developed in English and Spanish, so the organizations can also fill in our membership form in Spanish too. The communications that they will be receiving from our operational teams will be in English, but we can assist to them if they have any issues regarding that. And we have certain capacity to take calls in order to review the legal needs of the organizations, both in English and Spanish. I hope that answers your question, Mariana. You're welcome. In this slide, we wanted to present to you a very useful tool that we have developed for nonprofit organizations and social enterprises around the world. That is our legal health check. We developed this legal health check based on the most common legal requests we received from NGOs and social enterprises around the globe. And as you can see, it is structured in 8 different legal areas. This tool is basically a checklist that organizations and social enterprises can run in order to check the status of their legal health of these different areas, and any issue that they may have regarding any of these areas, they will be able to post a request of legal assistance through TrustLaw, so we can help them either with any of the issues that they may be dealing with or any additional thing they need in order to comply with any of these legal areas. We will be able to send you this very useful material that we have both in English and Spanish, so you can share with your grantees. Thank you very much. We'll go back to Giulia.
Thank you, Ceci. Any other questions? That was very thorough.
Giulia, I think we can continue with the presentation. And if you have any questions, I will let you know so you can answer them.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Okay, so as the last part of the presentation, we wanted to showcase some of our case studies to get you a better understanding of exactly in practice what does the service mean and facilitate. So one is, I wanted to give a highlight on an impact stories that we ran for an NGO based in London, but actually was working primarily in Africa on the ending FGMs. And we developed together a legal report setting out the legal framework and status of FGM in 28 African countries. And this was 2820 is an NGO with about 3-4 lawyers, 4 staff members, and we had 120 lawyers working on, coordinated by Latham and Watkins, to look at legal frameworks in 28 African countries. And we had global lawyers, but also local lawyers on the ground that could really extrapolate the right information. And then we worked tirelessly to do a groundbreaking report that highlights example of best practices, lessons learned, recommendations. So it was a combination of the lawyers' work and of the NGOs that had the policy knowledge to really bring together a roadmap on how to eliminate FGMs in Africa. And I think the amount that the lawyers spent on this was about almost $2 million on pro bono. So it's really the power of our network to deliver great legal resources for free for an NGOs that would have never been able to afford it. This is another story that is on the legal research and looking at how legal research can be used for advocacy and changing the law. And it's about child marriage. We supported an organization called Unchained at Last. Again, Unchained at Last is, I think, is 2 people, and we matched it with White & Case, one of the biggest law firms in the world, who really helped them build a memorandum, which provided the backbone for the not-for-profit to go out there and eliminate child marriage in the U.S. And thanks to this research, the organization, Freddie, which is an incredible woman, was able to change the law in 2 U.S. states to ban child marriage. And she's using this at every meeting she has in each country state she goes to in order to change the law. Another interesting case study is on Latin America, where we're really looking at building research on donation to no-profit and the tax benefit for donors. We're doing this with Kemefi, which is one of WING's members. And we believe this is going to be a great tool for not-for-profit and foundation to educate donors on about the benefit and of making donations, and also it can be used in the future to do training on the topic and improve legislation going forward and advocate for legislation in different countries. Another very interesting story. This is just more on the governance side and how we work with more NGOs in Africa to develop a child protection and safeguarding policy. But I really wanted to highlight that because I do believe a lot of your grantees at the moment are going through challenges around safeguarding and child protections or women protection and sexual harassment. And I think the work we did here was small but big. It enabled the organization to have strong governance that then they were able to share with a lot of NGOs that gave in the areas, that gave them a lot of profile and attracted new donors thanks to being so solid on the government side. And I think we're very pleased with a small project that you can have great impact. And this is another type. The last one is a project we did with IRC and DLA TIFA. So IRC wanted to do some training on Know Your Rights for Burmese refugees in Thailand. So we did the research on the different laws, and then they developed the training that then the IRC ran with some of the lawyer and DLA typers to refugees in Thailand in camp. And it was very successful and impactful. This started an incredible relationship between IRC and DLA Piper, and now they have decided to scale it up in many different countries and have a global partnership. So for us, again, is us facilitating something great for an organization that has great impact. And
Giulia, we have some questions.
Oh, sorry. I was into the presentation and I didn't do it. So
no, don't worry. The people would like to know what is FGM, and if you could explain what was the process of these experiences, who came with the idea at first, and how long was the process?
Okay, so the FGM is female female genital mutilation. With cutting rituals in African countries for girls and women. And there are some countries where there is the laws to protect women and some there isn't. So we're looking at the framework in different countries and see what laws needed to be strengthened or changed or just mainly enforced better. And then in terms of how the process works of this experience is always, the idea is always from the NGOs. It's led by the NGOs. So, I mean, in a relationship with some of you that works with civil society already, and we could gather together a group of them and understand what are their needs for advocacy, and then develop the partnership. And usually we give them a questionnaire they need to fill in, and then we put it on our platform, and then law firm bid for it. Or you can introduce it to some of your grantees and we can have the one-to-one conversation, and it really depends how you work and how we work and how the NGOs. But the idea should usually always come from the NGOs. And the organization that works it's called 28 Too Many. Sorry, I'll go back to the slide. It's called 28 Too Many, the organization that works to stop FGMs. Here is their logo. And we'd be happy to put you in contact if you're interested in this topic. Any more questions on the case studies and impact stories?
Giulia, I received a question here. They were asking is there any group of organizations that came together and developed something with TrustLaw, using the TrustLaw service as a coalition and not only like as one organization by itself?
Yes, we had also a coalition of organizations, and we are actually trying to foster more of that. So if you have an idea of a coalition of organizations that is looking to do a big campaign, but they really need some legal research in order to be effective. We're as long as there's one or two organizations who are leading, so they can liaise with us, and we don't have to liaise with 25 organizations, we are happy to do that.
We have another question here, Giulia. If it could, it would be good to understand how the timeline are defined, and if there's any restrictions in relationship to the duration of the project.
So the timeline is defined by the NGO and the law firm together. And unfortunately, the smaller projects, they can go from 3 days to 2 weeks to 1 month. The big research usually takes 3 months to 6 months to a year, depending on how extensive is the legal research that you're looking at. Just because the legal research it needs to be very thorough, and it takes quite a bit of time. So besides this example, what are the other ways of collaboration existing between TrustLaw and PSOs? PSOs is NGOs. What is PSOs? Sorry, the ignorance.
It's philanthropy support organizations.
Yes, so TrustLaw, mainly these are the examples, and these are the examples on impact, but if you work with grantees and what Cecilia was mentioning before, you do an annual gathering of all your grantees or a local gathering of everything. We could send one of our lawyers to do a training on the health check that Cecilia was mentioning, and looking at their legal needs and how that can be strengthened. Or we can look at it being something more specific, that we were looking with one of a big organization looking at they were very interested in safeguarding, so we're exploring at the moment of how when they're looking at granting money to an NGO, but they feel their safeguarding or policy are not strong, they can refer that organization to us, and we help that NGOs with developing the right policy and governance, so that then they can receive the grants from the philanthropic organization. And then, besides with TrustLaw, as I said, the foundation overall, we look at strengthening media, we're looking at journalists reporting on news, etc. So I'm also happy to chat about the broader organization collaboration we can foster.
Regarding collaboration, we had another question. Is there any list of the programs you already worked on for organizations to access, so they know if something has been already done, like a list of the process?
Yes,
so
we have.
Avoid duplication and maybe start the process with the organizations that are already doing this process.
Yes, we have on our website the list of all the organizations that we have a list of all the research we have published in the recent years, so you can go there and have a look. And then usually when you approach us, if you have an idea and you've already done it, we usually put you in. We let you know that this has already happened, and we can happily connect you to the organization that does it.
Yeah, could you share with us what would be the next steps regarding any potential organization interested in continue this conversation with TrustLaw?
Yes, we'll share the link, and again, we're happy to have a lot of conversation, hopefully, from this webinar. And any questions? Okay, So I think if there's not further question, I just wanted to wrap up saying, please connect with us. We are very excited. We'd love to work with some of you or all of you, if possible, in strengthening your grantees and members' efficiency so they can become more impactful. Here are the contact details from Alessandra and Cecilia, who work particularly in Latin America, but I'll be very grateful if Finn can also share my contacts in case you want to work at a global level, and I can put you in contact with the right different team members, and especially if you're interested in strengthening media and inclusive economy and human rights, I'll be happy to look at how we can collaborate at a more global level with the foundation.
Julia, I think we have a question from April.
Okay, please. Yeah?
April, do you want me to unmute you, or you can send me the question on the chat?
Hello?
I think here is the...
I got it. I have it. So there are so is there a relationship between trust law and Thomson Reuters? So in terms of the relationship, trust law is part of Thomson Reuters Foundation, which is a completely separate entity from the Thomson Reuters, the business. So we operate independently, and I mean, there's a link in terms of they provide some of our core funding, but in terms of delivery, we are completely independent. Are there other organizations like yours, and do you collaborate with them? I'm thinking of maybe very specialized area of regions. So there are other organizations like ours, but we are quite specialized in each region. So we have collaboration with lawyers and NGOs in over 175 countries. So we'll be happy to help, and if not, put you in contact with organizations that might help you. Thank you for sending all these questions. It makes it much better. Is there any further question? And was I exhaustive in answering all the questions?
So thank you, Giulia and Cecilia. We are closing the webinar now. I'm just letting you know that Bia had a problem with her microphone. So in the name of Wings, I'm saying thank you very much. And everyone, please feel free to send us questions, and we can put you in contact with Cecilia and Giulia if you prefer to talk to us first. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. It was a delight to meet you all online, and hopefully I'll hear from a lot of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.